bei uns gibt es den Girls Day. Den habe ich auch zweimal wahrgenommen. Das heißt, ich konnte mich davor auf einen Schnuppertag bewerben, was mich interessiert hat. Und dann konnte ich Einblicke gewinnen in den Alltag verschiedener Positionen. Da war ich einmal in einem Blutlabor. Das fand ich ganz, ganz interessant. Durfte eigene Bilder von Blut generieren, mir unter dem Mikroskop anschauen. Und dann war ich auch noch mal in einem Chemielabor. Da haben wir Experimente mit, das ist dieser frische Minzgeruch. Und da gibt es verschiedene Derivate von. Und wir haben getestet, was auch das Empfinden von verschiedenen Derivaten davon ist. Ob man es als frischer oder kühler sogar auf der Haut wahrnimmt. Genau. Aber das weiß ich noch, das war der zweite Tag. Es war auch ganz spannend und interessant. Und auch mit noch viel weniger Wissen, als ich es jetzt habe. Eine sehr spannende Erfahrung, die mich eigentlich weiter darin bestärkt hat, das weiter zu verfolgen. Ich glaube, Sichtbarkeit, dass das Fächer oder Gebiete sind, in denen es ganz spannende Tätigkeiten gibt. Das ist etwas, was mir, glaube ich, damals vielleicht auch gefehlt hat, zu wissen, was man damit wirklich machen kann. Weil mit dem Begriff Chemie habe ich damals noch gar nicht so viel anfangen können, wie ich das heute kann, weil ich nicht wusste, was alles dazu gehört, was dazu zählt. Und ich glaube, das könnte einen großen Effekt haben, wenn man da einfach viel mehr Perspektiven aufzeigt, was man damit Spannendes tun kann, in welchen verschiedenen Bereichen eigentlich Chemie gebraucht wird. Und ich glaube, so kann man viele junge Frauen auch dafür begeistern, diesen Weg zu wählen.
When I was a little kid and watching TV shows, for instance, when you think of the cartoons that kids are exposed to, and you think of the scientists in these cartoons, first of all, they're usually mad scientists, but also they're often men. I don't remember a single show that I watched where there was a female scientist, and that didn't discourage me from science at all, but at the same time, when I grew up reading books like Harry Potter, where you had these smart female characters such as Hermione Granger, who are nerdy but also so kind and passionate, and you see them solving complex problems. I think this is also a way that I was encouraged to continue being nerdy and smart and trying to be kind in all of these different facets that I saw in a character like Hermione Granger. But also when I grew up and continued to understand better the research space that we were in, I first became very excited about people like Jane Goodall doing research in Africa with different primates there, and how she was driving also conservation efforts and working with local people. But then later with chemistry, you also see really passionate women who are strong and smart and intelligent, like Jennifer Doudna, who's also doing impressive and incredible groundbreaking science and later went on to win a Nobel Prize. So these are some women who are very well known in the science field, of course, and I think it's so critical to have women like this in this space with their voices being heard, but also just the people who are around us every single day, the other women that are in my lab. Of course, I mentioned my mom growing up, being encouraged by her to pursue a science career. She didn't say go into science, but she did let me explore my passions for science. And I think that was really critical. Being around women in my lab who are so smart and so passionate, and they spark the passion that I have once again. So these are, I think, really important people to have in your space.
During my college, my professors, they were never bored of my constant questions, and they were very happy and very inspiring. So of course they are my first initial role models, and then definitely I have to mention my PhD supervisor, Professor Abhishek Dev. He's the one who sparked the interest in me in about science, about how biochemistry works, about how our body works. So he's like this people are the one whom I look up to. When we think about why still the ratio of women and men student in the scientific fields, like in a classroom, are not equal, I guess the female role models, the lack of female role models still play a role. So I think they are very, very important. Professor Oshima Banerjee, she is the one who discovered anti-epileptic and anti-malarial drug. So I always looked up to her, and I read about her stories while growing up. So yes, she was one of my female role models. If you compare two very capable female candidate and a male candidate, the chance of the male candidate getting a job in a senior position is higher than the female candidate. Maybe it's changing more and more and more, and that's a good change, and I appreciate that. But still, I guess sometimes a woman has to deliver more to prove her worth.
I think we don't need more female role models per se, but we need more role models that support women in science in general. I think this is particularly important because a lot of departments at the moment, the professors are largely men. So we don't see a lot of senior women above us when we're PhD students and postdocs. But what we should be able to see is those people, the PIs, department administration, senior scientists, lab managers, supporting women in science. And this can be as simple as understanding that women maybe tackle work differently than men or speak differently than men, but also can go as far as really supporting women in science programs, for example. I mean, there weren't a lot of women professors, so I didn't have that many role models to look up to in my career. But I didn't feel limited by this. But I didn't also try to go there, so I can't say for sure. So my PhD supervisor is probably exactly what I needed as a role model, and he was an extremely good mentor. He was extremely helpful and open to us. He really helped us and encouraged us to grow. He was, very open with us about how science was. He was one of the people that told me science has a lot of failures. We very rarely hear good things about us, and it's a very tough career. You come with a very good, exciting piece of results, and the first thing you hear is, oh, you forgot this control, or maybe it means this, and maybe we don't get patted on the back very often and told how good we are. And he was very open about this and let us fail and helped us to develop. He was also noted at one point during my PhD that they didn't have a lot of female applicants for the new professor position in the department. And he said then that this was a problem for him because there was about 50% female postdocs at this time. So what was happening between the number of postdocs versus the number of applicants for the professorship? And he said something I had never heard someone say before, and he said, we need to change the job to be more attractive to women so that more women apply to the job. We need to change our department so that more women are interested and willing to come and do this job. And this was the first time I heard somebody say something like, I didn't need to change for the system should change for me. And this was incredibly amazing thing to hear as such a young scientist. So he is my role model, honestly, and more people like him, whether they be male or female, would be extremely good to have in a university environment.